Welcome into the schools program today on the Q96.5 FM, and we're doing this via Zoom. And more of our meetings are being held this way, and our interview is being held this way. And with me right now is Lisa Marsalek, who is the Vice President of Student Affairs at Defiance College. Lisa, welcome in.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, from the background that we're seeing here on our Facebook page right now, if they're watching it there, you are shuttered at the house.
This is true. I've been doing this remotely for about 10 weeks now.
Oh, 10 weeks. How many years does that, how many is that, I mean, how many years is that in pandemic years, I guess we ought to ask.
Is it like dog years? Is 1 week 7 years? I don't know.
It sure feels like it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does sometimes.
Oh man. Now you are a people person, so this probably has to be tougher on you than a lot.
It is. You know, my job involves a lot of meetings and coordinating. So I'm still in meetings all day long, but it's very different staring at a computer screen talking to someone as opposed to being in the same space. So as an extrovert, I really miss, being with people in the same room and seeing our students face to face instead of through Zoom or Google Meet.
It's wonderful technology, but there's nothing like being right across from somebody and being able to talk to them.
Absolutely. I agree completely. And again, we're so thankful that we have the technology that we could continue to, deliver education to our students and support them and stay in touch, but nothing replaces being together in person.
So where's the school right now? What Defiance College, is it on total lockdown? Is there nobody there, or what does the campus look like?
Yeah, good question. So we've never been really closed. We've been open, but most of us have been remote. So we went to remote learning while the students were on spring break. So most students didn't return to campus at that time. We had probably 24 or so students that continued to live on campus throughout the remainder of the semester because that was their best option for them at that time. And then we still probably had about a third of our staff based on the nature of what they do that needed to be on campus to do their job. So we've never been closed. Some of our buildings are locked up, and the Smart Center has not reopened yet. But we've been open and operating all our functions just from afar. So still doing the same work, just in a different way.
Wow. How long did that take to really get up to full speed?
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. I remember very clearly in early March, because part of my role is managing the crisis operations for the campus. So I had been paying attention and monitoring the situation since January and watching what was happening in California and Washington. And there's a lot of connections in higher education through professional associations and different listservs, and we support each other. And so I was keeping an eye on it. And in early March, I said to our president, I said, this is about to become my full-time job. I think this is really going to start to impact us. And then the next week, the governor, asked us to all go to remote work. So in the period of a week, our faculty who were on spring break and weren't supposed to technically be working managed to convert all of their courses to online courses, which is amazing. And, kudos to them. And then in addition to that, all of our staff had to figure out how to do things remotely and differently, and how do you support students, and how do you deliver counseling services? How do you do student activities when the students aren't here? So really, we got the bulk of it done in about 7 days. And then the rest of the semester was really just triaging individual issues and students and trying to support students to keep them going so they could successfully finish the semester. But the initial work, we did it 24 hours a day for about 7 days. So,
whoa,
yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, over spring break too, just.
Yes, yes. And we had teams, that had traveled. We had groups in Florida. I think the golf team was in one of the Carolinas. And so as they're down there and getting ready to come back, we're having to communicate to them, okay, you're going to come back to campus, but then you're going to go home as soon as you get to campus. So it was an interesting time for sure, and remains quite interesting.
I guess so. Lisa Marsalek is my guest right now with Defiance College. Would you say things are running relatively smoothly right now, Lisa?
Yeah, I think so. We just had our commencement a week and a half ago, and that was fabulous, even though we couldn't be in person and do the big ceremony because of our small size. Our faculty actually went and delivered the diplomas in person to the students' homes. So that
Wow.
we still got to celebrate with them. So we're now in summer session starting here, and summer was typically always online or mostly online anyway. So nothing really changed there. We still have some students living on campus for summer. We've converted freshman orientation to online. And really what we're doing a lot of right now is, prepping for fall, and if we're all able to come back together, what does that look like, and how do we, keep each other safe, but at a distance. So lots of work going into that.
Well, I bet so. Any inside scoops there as to whether you're going to be able to get back in fall?
So of course everybody wants that, right? We'll have
Sure.
probably more of an official announcement the week of June 1st after some more anticipated guidance is coming out from both the athletic side and the state. So in about another week or so, we'll have probably an official word of what our plans are. So
These weeks have gone so slowly
yeah.
in so many ways. But, I'm sure if you've been as busy as what you guys have been, they probably have clipped along pretty well.
Yeah, each day sort of flies by, but then, as you said, the week itself sort of feels in many ways like it's very slow. But yeah, there's much to do and much to plan. In many ways, it's there will be things that we learned from this and processes that we've changed that we won't go back to because we became more efficient or we utilized technology in a different way. A good example is, we had a lot of paper forms that we were still using, and you can't do that if you're not together or if you shouldn't be in the same space. And so, utilizing something like DocuSign to, streamline that process and whatnot. So there will be a lot of benefits that come out of this, even though it was a lot of work going into it.
Oh, I would agree. I think our lives will be changed in many ways for the better.
Yeah, for sure.
If we can, we just need to be able to get through this pandemic here for the short term, right?
Absolutely. And so, so whatever scenario we end up with in the fall, our first priority will obviously be the safety of our students and our faculty and staff. And then, delivering a quality education for them. So, and we hope that we can do that all together in person.
Yeah, boy, I hope you can too, because there's nothing like the experience for a Defiance College student to be on campus with their Defiance College comrades.
Yeah. And the students want to come back. I mean, we hear from them and they're like, we miss you. We can't wait to come back. Are we going to be able to come back? So they are very anxious to return. And of course, our athletes are anxious to, get back to that. So it's nice to see some of the athletics opening up over the summer, and hopefully that will continue and we can bring our athletes back.
What are you hearing about that? Because the nice thing, if you get the fall sports, you have a very nice sized football stadium.
Yeah.
You could distance people very well. Are there at this point in time any signs that Coach Matt Sakis and his crew are going to be able to get everybody back here and get things going?
So again, we are daily watching all the guidance from the state, the local health department, the conference, athletic conference, the NCAA. I think it's really going to be a conference and local, each school's decision based on what works for their situation. Because obviously we're in a very different position than Ohio State, in terms of our size and our ability to manage that. So again, we're thinking in June we'll have a lot more information and be able to speak to that more specifically. But of course, that's everyone's goal, is to be able to do that if at all possible. So.
Yeah, because a large percentage of the students you have on campus are there not only to learn, but also to continue to be able to compete on a D3 level.
Yeah, and if it's not competing in athletics, it's in music programs or our service leadership programs, which again, all of those require you to, be together. So, yeah.
I would have to assume all the programs that normally would take the students away, whether it's a McMaster's program or anything like that, have all been canceled as well. And any distance learning like that is now in the past, but hopefully maybe still available for 2021.
Yeah, so we did have a couple trips that had to be canceled in May. So again, nothing else would happen until December at the earliest, based on our normal trips that we take. And so, fingers crossed, things are better by then, and those will be able to continue. So fortunately, we don't have anything on the books for this summer or early fall, so we've got time to, wait it out and see how this goes.
Lisa Marsalek has been my guest here today. I've got 2 questions for you before I'm going to let you get back into your very busy day.
Okay.
First of all, what was the most difficult day you've had over the course of the last 10 weeks? Okay. And then secondly, what are you looking forward to the most once everything is back to whatever the new normal is going to be?
I think the most difficult day was the Saturday when spring break was ending, and we had the sports teams that were, traveling, coming back, trying to communicate with the coaches and the teams on their buses, meanwhile managing other students that hadn't necessarily paid attention to the emails and the messaging about you should stay home. I think I started working, it was a Saturday, I think I started working at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it went until about 11 o'clock that night with just constant text messages, phone calls, emails, trying to sort everybody out, because it was, not something that we had much notice for. So that was a long day.
Oh, I bet it was a long day.
What I'm looking most forward to is just seeing the students again and that energy on campus. And what will be hard is if we can't hug people, because our campus is very friendly, and students, will hug faculty and staff if they know you well. And so we might have to change that part, but just having them on campus and the energy and enthusiasm that they bring, because our 2 favorite days of the year, one is commencement, right? And the other is when they move in as freshmen in August. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, wonderful. I know that they can still register, I'm sure, for fall courses.
Absolutely, yes.
And anybody that would like more information can go up to any of your social media or your webpage, or I'm sure somebody, if they would call or email, there'll be responses coming back from the school.
Absolutely. Our admissions team will be happy to work with anyone who has questions.
Fantastic. Lisa Marsalek, thank you very much for your time and all the efforts you guys have put in down at Defiance College to make it such a wonderful place.
No problem. Thanks for having us, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to you about sports and other things in the fall.
I can't wait. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. How's that?
Yeah. Yep. So thank you.
Thank you. That'll wrap up our schools program for today. Back into Classic Hits on the Q96.5 FM.